What kind of life do we want to lead? Jerry Seinfeld has an answer that I love. Jerry Seinfeld, on the heels of his excellent commencement address at, where was that? At Duke, I think. Jerry Seinfeld comes out and he says he wants to bring back dominant masculinity.
As a man, can I say that?
You sure you are? Are you?
I've always wanted to be.
I didn't ask your pronouns before we began.
I've always wanted to be a real man. I never made it. But I really thought when I was in that era, again, it was JFK, it was Muhammad Ali, it was Sean Connery, Howard Cosell. You can go all the way down there. That's a real man. I want to be like that someday. Well, no. I never really grew up. You don't want to as a comedian because it's a childish pursuit. But I miss a dominant masculinity. Yeah, I get the toxic thing. I get it. But still, I like a real man.
Jerry Seinfeld misses that old dominant masculinity. And this clip reminded me of one of the great moments from The Sopranos when Tony Soprano says the same thing.
Let me tell you something. Nowadays, everybody's got to go to shrinks and counselors and go on Sally Jesse Raphael and talk about their problems. Whatever happened to Gary Cooper, the strong, silent type? That was an American. He wasn't in touch with his feelings. He just did what he had to do. See what they didn't know was once they got Gary Cooper in touch with his feelings, that they wouldn't be able to shut him up. And then it's dysfunction this and dysfunction that and dysfunction my
Dysfunction this, dysfunction that. We're getting some really great vulgar Italian slang this week. We got the vaff, which I assume some of you, at least from the tri-state area, have heard before, kind of a naughty imperative in Italian-American slang, which comes from an Italian phrase. And then also from the Holy Father, C'è già troppa. But the point that Tony Soprano and that Jerry Seinfeld and that the Holy Father have made they're all true. But Tony Soprano and Jerry Seinfeld are making the same point. We miss that. We miss a dominant masculinity, a good, healthy masculinity. We miss that. And it's not just me, and it's not just Seinfeld, and it's not just Tony Soprano. You miss it too. And it's not just conservatives, and it's not just moderates. Liberals miss. Everyone misses that. You remember that video of the girl who said she was a lesbian, but then she went out on one date with one finance bro who was wearing, a Patagonia fleece and bought her one drink, and all of a sudden she's gaga. She's ready to throw on a Donna Reed dress and start baking cookies. Everyone misses that. Why? There's so much more to say. First, though, text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. We recently had some monumental news that no one's talking about. For the first time in our history, the interest we pay on the national debt has surpassed every individual budget item except for Social Security. The United States now spends more on interest than on national defense or Medicare, and the situation is only getting worse as the government continues to spend like drunken sailors. That is why investors, central banks, and concerned savers are turning to gold, something not tied to the inflated U.S. dollar. Birch Gold understands that navigating financial decisions can be scary. That is why their dedicated in-house IRA department is there to guide you every step of the way. Birch Gold is committed to addressing your questions and concerns promptly. Whether it's about fees, taxes on rollovers, or the timing of the process, they are here to ensure you feel valued and well-informed. Text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898 to talk to one of Birch Gold's experts and claim your free info kit on gold. You will learn how to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Best part is, it does not cost you one penny out of pocket. Just text Knowles, KNWLES, to 989898. That is Knowles to 989898. What most people think is the reason that we miss that dominant masculinity is because weakness is dangerous, because weakness imperils us. It imperils our institutions, it imperils our families, it imperils our whole society. That is true in part. The other reason, though, that people miss that right now, why everyone misses that right now, is ironically because we like a little diversity. The libs say they love diversity. Obviously, they do not like very much diversity. They not only don't like diversity of opinion, they don't like diversity of behavior. They don't like They like maybe diversity of skin color. Not even that, though, because they hate white people. They might like diversity of sex and gender, but not really, because they don't like normal guys. So they don't like that. But I do like diversity. I like variety. I think variety is the spice of life. And the reason that we need a little diversity and the reason that we need a little variety is because this is a fallen world and you're not all that. You don't have everything that you need for a totally flourishing life. This is in part a consequence of the fall of man and the fact that our nature is broken. And so we all have foibles and we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, some more than others. But this is also a fact of man's nature as a social animal. This is why even in the Garden of Eden, when God makes Adam, Adam gets a little lonely. And it's not right for Adam to be alone. And so God makes Eve, pulls Eve out of his rib. This is the Garden of Eden. Things are perfect there. And even in perfection, before the fall of Adam, man is still a social creature. Man still gets kind of lonely when he's alone. So we need a little diversity. We need a little complementarity. The liberal idea, classical, liberal, progressive liberal, all the liberalisms in between, is basically that we're all that. We're all that in a bag of potato chips. I don't need anybody else. I don't need anything. But we do, and we sense when we're missing something. Our culture right now is extraordinarily effeminate. The women are not feminine, and the men are extremely effeminate. That's the worst possible combination. And so we're longing for a Gary Cooper. This is why a politics that's got a little bit more machismo to it is attractive to a lot of people. And that's why the days of the nice sort of, quiet wallflower presidential nominee, they're kind of over, at least for the time being. And now we want a big, boisterous guy who's just going to tell you what it is. Gary Cooper doesn't go to shrinks. He doesn't talk about his feelings. You got to talk about this, sensitivity, that, sensitivity, this, sensitivity. Hold up. That was a great clip. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.